Hello, chess friends, and welcome to Jozarov's chess channel, and welcome to the Youth World Chess Championship in 2019 in India. So we have the winner, and it's the chess prodigy of India, Ramesh Babu Praggnanandhaa. I'm not going to explain you more about him. He's the fourth youngest world chess grandmaster in chess, and I really now followed his career, and I think in the near future he will be also the world champion in chess. And I wish him all of the best because he took now a very important step. The funny thing about Ramesh Babu Praggnanandhaa is that he played in this U18 section, although he could have played even the U14 section or even the U16, but he chose to play this U18 and crushed all of his opponent, even if even if he was 4 years younger than everyone. But he played a very nice tournament and had the 9 points out of a possible 11 points. So without losses, Praggnanandhaa is now the new king of youth chess, and as I said, I think in the near future he'll be also the world champion in chess. So let's see now a game. From the round one, it was played here by Ramesh Babu with the black pieces against Massimiliano Botta, an Italian strong master with the white pieces. And here I wanted to show you how Praggnanandhaa plays chess. He plays really this aggressive styles, and that's why I think he fully deservedly won this very nice tournament. So let's see, d4 here played by Botta, knight on f6 by Praggnanandhaa, and now we have c4. And here Praggnanandhaa goes for the c5, and now white has several choices. White can take, white can pass through to play the move d5, or play something like knight on f3. And here in the continuation, knight on f3 was played by white, and now this is now sort of a declining variation. White's ideas after maybe something like, I don't know, c takes d4, knight takes on d4, and maybe bishop on g7, then after knight on c3, bishop on g7 to play this move e4, and then creates the so-called Maroczy bind after potential knight on c6, maybe bishop on e3. And now we have the dragon Sicilian sort of setup here with the Maroczy bind setup, which is sometimes very annoying to play because white will rely on his space advantage that he has created here with his two central pawns. So that's why Praggnanandhaa, after knight takes on d4, you see he plays this very aggressive style. He played the move e5. And this is a variation that my brother loves to play. He's also chess player. For those who are known that I published one of his games in this particular line on my YouTube chess channels. You can also check it out. Here after e5, you see we have knight on b5. We have still the common theory, and now comes a very aggressive move d5. C takes d5. You cannot take with the knight the pawn on d5, because then you get queen takes, and then we have a fork, and you lose the game immediately. So that's why here bishop on c5 played by Praggnanandhaa, and now knight on c3. You see this knight was a little bit loose here on the square b5, so that's why white decides to bring it back and play on a normal opening line. So the problem for white is, although white is now a pawn up, white can never advance the pawn here after castling. White can never advance the pawn on e4, because here knight on g4 is very dangerous. There's no way that you can protect this f2 anymore. So that's why white is always forced after castling to play this g3 setup, or maybe even immediately e3. And here after a queen on b6 we have e3. So you see queen on b6 of course was the direct attack against this pawn on f2. And the problem is that it's not so good to play immediately the move knight on a4, because we have some intermediate check possibilities. Also this knight on c3 is the key defender of this d5 pawn, and this d5 pawn is now white's extra pawn, of course, so that's why white is trying not to lose this pawn. So bishop on f5, and you see black has here a good compensation for the pawn, although black is a pawn down, but has already brought out 4 pieces, which is really a fast development style here by Praggnanandhaa. And now white has to be also fast in the development. That's why bishop on g2, and now we have e4. This e4 is also a common idea in this gambit line, because we want to create a space advantage. We want to occupy our opponent's other side of the board. We want to close the bishop, and you see now this bishop is also blocked out by its own pawn, so that's why here I think it's a really good compensation here for the pawn to simply give up, but you have really nice attacking possibilities with these minor pieces and the queen. And here castling played by Bota, here knight on d2, and now knight on d7, knight on d2, and here rook on e8. Of course, we are supporting even more this e4 pawn. We cannot afford to lose this pawn. If we lose this pawn on e4, from black perspective, we'll probably lose the game. And here, as I mentioned, here this knight on a4, even after castling, it's not so good, because we have simply queen on d6, and if you try to take out this bishop, then knight on c5, and you see this square for the knight is perfect. You would jump simply with the knight on d3, then we would take this pawn on d5. We can play this rooks on this active files on the d file, on the c file, but still white will have problems in order to develop his dark square bishop. So after knight on d2, here rook on e8 as mentioned was played, and here queen on a4. Maybe a better idea for white would have been to go for this trades of queens, because bishop on e3 doesn't work here. It seems that you can get something, because after queen takes on e3 and king on h1, it seems that knight on g4 would be dangerous, but you see, then you lose simply this e4 pawn, and we will have the protection of this f2. So maybe queen on b3 really a better idea here. Black would be forced to play something like rook on d8, and white can simplify the position and maybe trade off even the queens of the board, but still this d5 weakness remains. So in a couple of moves, I think black can still recapture this d5 pawn, and still I'm pointing out that this bishop is really weak. Meanwhile, you see that black's pieces are playing in perfect harmony, so that's why this gambit line I really like a lot. So after queen on a4, we have bishop on b4, a3 was played, and now simply bishop takes on c3. Nothing so complicated, I think. You see, after b takes c3, now knight on d5, we're taking the pawn, and now queen on d4. You cannot take this pawn. It seems that you can take it, but it leads to a tactical sequence in which you're losing a piece, or you have to lose the queen. You have to give up the queen. Then again, although white has some compensation here for the queen, but I think still black is simply better here. Black has a better development. Still, you have, again, I'm pointing out, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but still you have problems to develop this dark square bishop. So that's why queen on d4 was played, and queen on e6. As I said, we are protecting simply now our main advantage, our main space advantage here, the pawn on e4. c4, of course, played by white, kicking away the knight, and now knight on f6. We have bishop on b2. Now finally white develops this this dark square bishop. Creates also some dangerous threat, because you cannot play very freely with this knight. So here Praggnanandhaa plays a very nice move, plays on the counter attack with the move h5. The idea is now to create this common idea to trade off maybe the light square bishops here, play h4, then h takes g3, and then come with the queen and the knight, create even dangerous checkmate threats here. So this is the main idea. Of course, it can be prevented with h5, but the h5 move also weakens the light squares even more. That's why white has to be careful here, really, in the continuation of the game. Rook from a to c1 was played. Now white finally brings the last piece in the attack, which is a good thing, I think. And here b6 played by Praggnanandhaa. Very nice positional move, not allowing white to advance the pawn on c5, which could be then very dangerous. And here knight on b3 played by Bota, and now comes this idea, as I mentioned, bishop on h3 to trade off this light square bishops, and then use this weak light squares around white king. So rook from f to d1 was played. Now queen on f5, sneaking in a little bit with the queen, very dangerous here, the queen. And now queen on d6 was played, bishop takes on g2, king takes on g2, and now comes knight on e5. And you see now the threats this is really weak here, the position of the king. So that's why white is really forced to give up his very powerful bishop now, and he has to trade it off for the knight here on e5. That's why here first queen on f3. Very nice move here by Praggnanandhaa, not to take the bishop immediately. Here after king on g1, we have even knight on g4. So Praggnanandhaa is still not taking the bishop. Very nice attacking style here, and of course the threat is to take with the queen on f2 and then queen takes on h2, checkmate. That's why rook on d2 had to be played, but now finally knight takes on e4, e5, and now we have again possibilities. You see how Praggnanandhaa reloaded this knight. Once a knight was there, now the other knight is on this very nice square, and of course we have the threat to place the knight on f3, and this will be very dangerous. So that's why Botha realized these ideas of white's. He saw that it would be a problem to with this knight, and that's why here f6 was played, knight on d4, and now queen on g4, h4 was played, and now queen on h3. Now we have really a threat. If you play something like, I don't know, passive like rook on e1, you see this is a very dangerous threat. After a trades of knights, you cannot prevent white from checkmating. So that's why after queen on h3, white was forced to give up his material. He had to give up his rook for the knight, and here after f takes e5, it was basically a winning game for black. Knight on b5 was played, rook on d8, kicking away the queen, queen on c6, queen on f5. You see simple improvement of the position. Knight on d6, it seems that's a good fork, but it's not a problem here for Praggnanandhaa. He played simply queen on e6. Of course you cannot take the rook because you lose the queen. That's why Botha here played with the rook on the d file, but again rook on f8, first getting out of this attack of the knight, and after queen on d5 we have rook on f6, and in this position white resigned. If you trade off the queens, of course you lose in the next move or in the next couple of moves this knight on d6, because you cannot go somewhere with the knight because you have a knowing ping by the rook here on the d file. Okay, great game, I think, by Praggnanandhaa. Congratulations again, really great chess this little prodigy is playing. I really enjoy his games, and I wish him all of the best in the continuation of his career. We have now also many Indian talents. They're really building a very nice national team, I think, and we have the best talents from India, and I'm really looking forward to this new era in chess, because we'll see, we are now a little bit addicted to Magnus Carlsen's games, but in the future you see this little fella is coming. We have also many players from China, India, and as I said, I'm really looking forward to this new era in chess. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this game. Meanwhile, you can watch my other commented chess games from the series, and you can also watch my best chess games of all time if you want to see the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history. And you can also watch my computer chess games, in which I analyze these top engine games. And you can also subscribe to my channel if you like this content. Thanks you for watching, guys, and chess is the best.